Mic check, mic check. All right, we're good there. All right, we are live on YouTube and Twitch. Live on YouTube and Twitch. Got about a minute before we start this briefing off. All right, everybody here is in YouTube, Twitchland. Got good comms. That one, quick, looks good. Okay, let's get this freaking show popping. All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome in to the Forward Progress Weekly Command Briefing. Let's get into what's new across the org, the verse, and our operations. If you haven't met me before, my name is LT_R33, as you guys might know me in FP org, but better known as a streamer called LT Adventures. What we're gonna do, we're gonna try to make this weekly, and we might dial this back to monthly. But what I'm gonna do is try to give you guys like an update on new members who have joined or prospects. We're gonna do promotion recognition. We're gonna talk about ranks, leadership. Possibly giving out Operator of the Week later down the line. We're gonna talk about events and operation recaps. And you're also welcome to come and join us in the Discord if you have time. You can listen to us there, or you can listen to us on YouTube or Twitch. But if you want to come in, we're going to have a Q&A as well at the end of this. But we're going to talk about the game updates and any tactical impacts that we can. We'll talk about what's happening in org, any Discord changes, new roles, or policy updates, or anything to go with what we're doing in the Discord. We'll try to talk about recruitment goals and, any new divisions or squads that might come up. After we get to the Q&A portion, everybody have about 20 and 30 minutes to ask whatever questions they want to ask. We might have some guests on the show too. Might be some new members, could be some of your folks from the High Council, the people that make the wheels go around in FP, Mr. Don Stroff, Doc, and Nemesis, and HK Killing, who is our current leader. Man has a lot of things going on in life, as so do I. A lot of us do. But at the end of the day, we are going to try to make this the biggest and greatest org possible for you guys. So when those folks are on, feel free to ask questions about them. Anything that you might have on your heart or mind, please bring that up and address it. All right, we're gonna just kick into this, I guess. So let's talk about, I guess, new members. All right. Like I've stated before, with recruitment and things like that, it's important that we all, if you're an FP member, It's important that we start drawing in members, but also being good stewards to those members. What that means is like, taking them under our wing, giving them things to do and structure and stuff like that to focus on, not just bringing in the numbers and then being like, okay, I'm going to go off and do my own thing. What I've seen, and I'm going to bring this up on screen too, we don't get a lot of interaction going on in FP with our new members. It's like we get them in here, but we don't ever keep them engaged. Like we don't hit them up. Our expectation is, okay, our job is done right after we get them to come into the Discord. No, like as leaders, I'm leaning on you guys and members to take the new people, be cognizant of who they are, get to know them, and build them up too, and have a good time. That's what it's all about. So like I said, we're going to look into the members, into the Discord, and I want to show y'all something real quick. I'm going to go to screen. All right, so this is kind of like what we've got for members, right? that have come in the last 3 months. Everybody with an FP behind them is not only signed up to the org, but taken on the role of being an org member. They went to Spectrum, they signed up there. We need to welcome these new guys in and get them engaged. These guys are important. And then the people that are potential org members, look at how many we have. All right, I'm gonna show you each page here. We got Seiko, which doesn't really count, I guess he turned off and on his membership. I don't know what that's all about, but he's been a member longer than that, so it doesn't really count. But as you can see, we got nobody in there. Then we got some people, rocking the Reddit Discord. You want to, let these guys know that they got a home here if they want it. And then we got NEMS PC. So technically, we got one actual guy that signed up on Spectrum, and then we got all these potential recruits that we could reach out to, engage, and see what they're doing. And this is the wheelhouse, 1 to 3 months. That's what I'm going to show you guys in here. And I'd like to see more engagement in here. Like, of course, we're going to, fill out, but look at Allied Forces, and everybody's got the Star Citizen tags. None of them have the FP tag here. This guy says FP org member, but he's rocking Ewing. We need to reach out to him. Okay. And this is just for peace of mind. We're not going to go any further back than 3 months to look at this, but I'd like to take these guys because these guys are fresh still and reach out to them. All right. And then recognize our FP members. So right now we got Val. Played with this guy. Really cool dude. Joined March 19th. All right. New player. But look, these are the things, his field of interest. We can take a look at all this stuff and start getting him into the mix more. He wants to be a visionary, so he's looking to do base building. He likes FPS. Those are things that we can use as leaders to assess players that are new. And then we should also, like I said, be looking into our new members. That's just a tool for you guys to take a look at. And if we go on over to Spectrum, we got Pizza Heat here. He enlisted, a year ago. That's just an idea. We can go in here and take a look at our member registry and see who signed up. And I noticed on Spectrum they don't put it really in an order, but these are the guys that we should be reaching out to, and start getting them more back in the mix, like feel them out, see what they're up to in their lives. Maybe they're still busy, maybe they're taking a break from the game or whatever the case may be. All right. But we need to get our guys on Spectrum enrolled. And once we see that they've actually signed up in here, And I don't know what this is. This is hidden. I don't know what that means. Like, I don't even know how you could do that. Um, this one says rules. Maybe we have less members. Okay, it just generated. That's crazy. Okay. Anyways, this is just tools for leadership to go in, and they should. You should do this at least once a week, I'd say. Go in here and look. And if you're a member, you know, point anybody that you bring in here to our Spectrum page as well. It'll help the org grow. You guys are all part of that. But, you know, we need to welcome in a lot of our new members and, you know, try to get them involved with the organization, see where they're at, if they're interested in doing more in the game. Because if not, we're missing out on potential more activity, potential leader, a potential, you know, any skill set that you can think of in Star Citizen. Okay, so now we're moving on. Some things that I want to say as far as like people that are standing out that I've seen in the org so far. You know, I see Doc in here grabbing people up and bringing them in and introducing them and being really, really, really active. Nem brought in a potentially 4 folks in here. Really like seeing people that want to play with new members. You know, are trying to find ways of engagement. Um, we need to keep that up. So good off on Nem and Doc. Let's see. And those are your high council members. And it's not just high council members either. It's not always going to be like that. You know, you be just a regular new member, you know, and do something outstanding like be engaging with other members or fill us in on different game loops or whatever the case may be, you know. And like I said, this is the first one. Events and operation. We're going to move right into that. All right. So as you know, we have the rock, you know, cracker runs, and we can get ourselves into training scenarios. I know we got like, you know, Friday night fights, which we need to get more engaged in. Somebody needs to continue that game loop. We need to continue to like engage with our allies and try to do joint ops if we can. Create PvP engagements, even use the arena, honestly, as like a training night. Like maybe just go in and utilize some of the arena game modes. You know, have everybody jump on one ship and then go do swarm, and you know, work on turret communications to the bridge, or engineering skills for like. There's just, you know, a plethora of training scenarios that you can run in the arena, and we need to start implementing that in more. And I encourage leadership to create events. Really easy to do. Let me go ahead and draw that up too. I'll show you in how that can be done. A lot of people, I've done a video on this, but a lot of folks don't really pay attention to all this. So when we go in here to forward progress, if you're a leader, you should be able to go right down here to create event. When you click on create event, it asks you what kind of event you want to do, whether it's stage, voice, somewhere else, so on and so forth. This is kind of like in-person locations, like real life type stuff, like meetups and stuff like that. Maybe eventually we'll have something like that going on, like especially for CitizenCon. I'd like to see that like in the future. Maybe we can like set up like a year out and get some members to go to that. Maybe we can fund a couple members, hopefully through streaming and stuff like that. You know, that's in the future, but you just select one. So we'll just click stage. Then you select the channel that you want to go to. Right now, we only have one in the Discord, which is the briefing room. So you go there. Or like if we were in voice, we have multiple choices that we can choose, and it gives you a list of where you want to put that at. So it's like a training event, you know, scenario that you want to set up. You set up training room. Okay. If it's like, I don't know, FPS, CZs, you know, ground squad 1 or 2. If it's just like general, like, hey, we're gonna just random gameplay today, we can have the war room set up there. If it's an event for like, officers or anything like that, you can set it up in one of these. Um, miners, salvagers, anything is possible here. And you guys as members, if you guys want more events geared towards something, let us know. We need leaders, and like I said, definitely industrial department. We need more of that. Um, moving on. That's how you do events, and then events will show up right here. You can look at like today. We got the weekly command brief, Friday night fights right here. Boom. And then the high council meetings, which we need to get more into when you start doing these for our high council members. And then you can link yourself interested. So when it goes live, like it is now, it gets pushed out. Okay. All right, let's go back into it. All right, for game updates and, like the tactical impacts, as you guys know and are aware, the armor, pretty much like we're getting to a point where they're starting to work on the economy shifts and ship changes and meta changes and bugs that have been going on. As far as I'm aware, they haven't fixed the duping issue, which is probably the reason why things haven't gotten deleted. It's not a point. There's no point to it. They're probably going to work on that a little bit more and then release something like that. Let's see, ship hangars like the capital ships, like the Idris and the Polaris. Yeah, they've got some reworks done to them. This is all good. These are all good things. Things that are going to be coming out is like the for weapons, we're going to be looking at that ULIT Flex crossbow. It's going to be like a silent but high damage bolt with a projectile drop, which is going to be interesting for those that like being a little bit stealthy. They're also implementing a new grenade. It's the Azar plasma grenade. Going to be interesting. As you know, the current grenade, you can only kill radius of 5, an effective range of 25, I believe, might be 50, of doing concussion damage. Let's see here. Transport systems, elevators, trams, and transit systems, they're getting better with the server meshing and instancing, and they're getting better for reliability. And, I've noticed a lot of improvements on this update, and I'm sure you guys have too. And then we're looking at crafting, which is very new as well. These are all things that we can start gearing towards with new players, and working them into game loops. It doesn't matter about the blueprint or anything like that, but we want to, harness our crafters and start getting them, in the mix. So when base building comes out, we can start getting that going. I think it's important, we look at those things, but as leaders, we're not sitting there just like trying to fill our pockets with all this shit. Our focus should be on our members. It shouldn't be about like, oh, I got everything. Oh, I got all this money. Oh, I got every gun in the game. It doesn't matter. Plain and simple. It's about our members here. You guys matter. Like, we want to get you guys in the mix. We want to get you guys some experience. And as leaders, we want to keep you engaged. And we want to be active with that engagement, not just doing our own thing all the time and just talking with, our regulars that we like talking to. We need to branch out more. Can't stress that enough. It's not about you. Uh, it's about everybody. Like, this is FP. If you're a member in here, this place is your home, and you have a voice as much as somebody that sits in high council. So be cognizant of that. It's not LT's Discord. It's not Doc's Discord. It's not NEM's Discord. It's not Stroff's Discord. It is your Discord. It's our Discord. That's important. I want you guys to know that we're doing this as a group. Like, our main focus here in FP is going to be on territory control. Okay. Like, I want to get to a point where we're going to take on a planet, right? And we're going to have little territorial control starting out. And then we're going to branch out. We're going to take up the airspace of that planet. And then we're going to take on the next planet in that sector. We're going to continue to do so until we expand so much. You know, we pretty much got a system where people got to come to us to ask to come in and be well known in the verse. Not to be dickheads or assholes where they can't go and complete the missions that are on that planetary surface, but you know, like to let them know, hey, we're here and we're watching you. And if you do anything on our planet during your visit here, we're gonna come in and stomp you into stardust, plain and simple. That's what I'd like to see happen, you know. All right, the Angus Hammerhead is going to be a gold standard update with improved interior on 4.8. What that means, what gold standard means, is that ship is 110% not doing anything for changes. Whatever that is on 4.8, whenever they get finished with everything, that is the ship. 100%. They're not going to touch it. It's updated to its full capacity. Everything that it has is going to be the way that it's going to be at launch. That's what gold standard means to me. All right. That is pretty much everything that we needed to talk about. As far as 4.8 improvements that are going to be coming out. Like, they're going to have refueling and docking overhaul as well. That's going to be interesting. And the NPCs are going to continue to get better. They're going to continue to work on that in 4.8, and then advanced crafting, more crafting capability. Let's move on. All right. For the org, all right, the Discord changes that have taken place, we've removed black and white section for you leaders for the listings. We don't need it yet. We've been working on trying to get more of a flow going in the Discord. A lot of you guys have had questions that need to be discussed in High Council, just so they're addressed. All right, the way that forward progress is right now, we are not as busy as we were 4 months ago. Okay, that's pretty much the truth of the matter. We weren't as busy as we were 4 months ago. We need to get back to seeing like 12 to 20 people in here jamming away with SRS established again, or something similar to that. We can work on the comm system. You know, we need to make sure that that is being implemented as we grow out and expand. I'm looking at the leaders in this department, be like, whoa, wait a minute. Everybody's cross talking here. This is not fun for anybody. Nobody's being able to get a word in anyways. How many members do we have that are long-winded as all hell when it comes to just like talking in the middle of an operation? It's a problem. You know, we need to be cognizant of that, to where, hey, if you're going to have a separate conversation other than what you're doing in the operation, you need to be able to step away. Or if you're a leader, you need to be able to separate those members so everybody else can continue in gameplay and having a good time. All right. If you're in, let me go back to Discord. If you're in the war room, okay, cancel. This is the hangout spot, all right? This is like going into the bar. Like everybody's just chatting and bullshitting. All right. So, if you're pissed off because everybody's cross talking or whatever, that's on you. Like, I'm sorry, but you just got a picture going into a bar, in prime time. Everybody's talking and trying to get a word in, and that's what it's going to be like. Ship one, this is where you've got an opportunity to write in a status. You can go into ship one. It's limited on numbers, 1 to 14, right? Even that, I think, is high. Probably limit small, make that like 1 to 10 liters. You can change that number. Um, and be cognizant that, again, like put your status in here. If you don't put a status, then it's like a free for all. Everybody can come in. Look at what's down in ship two. I like this. All right. Is somebody put in here BP forming, do not join to chatter, or you will be moved. Simple enough. Tells you exactly what is going on in here. Okay, if you're not going in there to help out with them doing their thing, then don't click into that. I think it's okay to go down and be like, hey, can I join you guys? That's fine. We got ship 3. We got people down here. All right. We got Doc, who's chilling. Bio and Kilroy Rex and Mr. Eels. Hopefully, we can turn these guys into FP org members. I'm hoping. Kilroy, I've seen him in here quite a bit. Bio is like a new member that I brought in. I'm hoping he'll join FP. Mr. Evils, I think he's got an org. But you know what? If it's a small org, biggest thing that we can talk to small org members is like, hey, you get like 8 guys in an org, and the chances of them being active are small. We need to sell like activity. Like, take your 8 guys, join FP, where we got all these members and we're struggling to have activity, and let's build together. That's what it's all about. Like all these, this is the problem. Everybody, like especially big head type of people, everybody wants to have an organization, do their own thing, be completely in control of it, and me, 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 me. All right. I at one point in time was like, fuck me, 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 me. And we decided to join House Wolf. Except House Wolf decided to, tear us out from the inside out, and take away everything that we were trying to be, that we agreed to. You know. So in my mind, I'm never gonna do that again because look, we've got a system where it's not about me, it's about who's in our high council, okay? It's about like making sure that whoever is going to be the most active leader is running the show every 6 months, and that can change because that's the way it is. It should be the focal point is to make sure every member, is having a good time. Every member has something to do. We're always moving forward, making progress. That's what FP stands for, forward progress. We got to make forward progress all the time. You're not making forward progress when you're in an org with a guy that just wants his name on it. He might be able to keep a small group together for a little bit. But there's more power in numbers. Like get leaders from every walk of life. I can't control and be a leader of industry, leader of combat on ground, leader of fighter pilots, leader of capital ship. You can't do that in this game. You're gonna fail. We need a system in place where we harness like those leaders that are in that org and go, hey, you got a place here. You do have a voice. You're part of what we're building here. We appreciate what you did build over there in your alliance. But don't you want your guys to have more people to play with? Because if not, they're going to go to this guy's server. They're going to go to another guy's server. because you got to be able to give them something to do. Like, you got to be able to captivate their attention. As leaders, we have to do that. If you can't give me something to focus on, and you're not giving me instruction, or you're not giving me something that's goal oriented that I can sink my teeth into and do, why should I stay in FP, or why should I stay in your org? So on and so forth. And henceforth, like, if you're a leader in here, you should be aware that people are going away, and why that is because you're not giving them something to sink their teeth into, plain and simple. And if you're allowing that to happen, and you're also a type of person where you're going to other discords and drawing people over to other places, just think about what you're doing. You're taking away the activity in an FP, and literally you're just saying, hey, we don't do anything over here, let's go over here. And it hurts our numbers. We need to keep this as home base one, and when we do get established and everybody recognizes, like, hey, we're going to have a alliance day, and we're going in over to their server as like FP to be guest, all as a big group. But if we're just going and taking onesies and twosies away from our Discord, they're experiencing, you know, uh, more fun and more of a more of an organized system, and it's our fault to begin with. We're not going to be able to keep people. You can't force someone to stay in your Discord. You can't force anybody to sign up for something. Everybody's free to go wherever they want to be. The thing that I ask you is, think about, like, engagements. Think about being a good steward to our members. When we look at how dead this Discord is, if you're a leader, you only have yourselves to blame, and I have myself to blame. Even if it's not my fault, and I have things going on in my life, I have to take accountability that I'm not engaging, I'm not giving opportunity, I'm not giving a goal for the group. It's my bad. It's nobody's fault. Life happens. We understand that, but we need to take account of, what do we want to accomplish here in FP, and what we want to accomplish here as a whole is to be able to be one of the biggest known organizations in the Star Citizen verse. When it comes to Star Citizen Con, and we go as a group, I'm going to get this big ass FP flag, wave that thing like crazy in the middle of, whatever conference or whatever, and people are going to go, damn, that's FP right there. They got this shit together. And that's going to be badass. But we can't have that if we don't start by our foundation. I want you to take a look at any sim game. I said this to Nem, yesterday and today. Why recruitment is important is because even in a civilization type game, if you guys ever played that, or any kind of sim game, you start with settlers. And then you have to build up structures for those settlers to expand. You don't start building your government. You don't start building your army. You start with your settlers, your foundation. And once we get that going, we get that growing out, then you expand out. But you're going to have settlers that die, or take off to other villages, or do whatever they're going to do, But we all got to believe in the goal that we're going after. And that's going to take little baby steps. We've got to crawl before we can walk, and walk before we can run. If we can get those things accomplished, FP is going to be one of the best well-known organizations in Star Citizen. Everybody's going to want to come in and hang out with us. But if we can't do it together because of the team effort, I can't do it by myself. And I don't think any of our members in our High Council, or any single member, make FP great. It takes a village to make FP great. All right. But those are the channels. going back to the channels. So we got Ground Squad. We've got all these great channels. And for those of you that don't see what's going on, we got Operation Overhaul. We've got all these things that we can plug into in our Discord. And then policy and things like that are rules. It's important that we understand our rules and why we have our rules. Okay. It's a staple, you know. We're all big boys and girls. We need to be aware of the rules. And when a new member enters into our channels, we need to understand that they might not be okay if you're talking politics, right? They might not be okay with disrespectful words or any of that. Just be aware because you might just push somebody away that was like an A plus, you know, player. And moderators, you need to be the ones that, you know, make sure that you tell folks, hey, this is a new guy. Let's chill with the chatter. And you need to be responsible to implement anything, like as far as timing somebody out, banning them, doing whatever. You got that position for a reason. All right. Here. For as far as new divisions or squads, we don't really have anything to talk about. Okay. I mean, I want to get it to the point where I can fully have like a dropship crew, a dedicated dropship crew that'll go into CZ, secure ground locations, and people that are going to give us air cover in like the Star Lancer TAC. That's what I want to build up for my own personal little gameplay loop division, if you will. And leaders, I want to see you guys create your own little divisions as well. I would like to see everybody be in charge of some portion of whatever the gameplay loop might be. It could be your freaking industrial guy, or it could be like your fighter pilot, or you could be, you know, transport, whatever. There's plenty of room for everything. And then also we need to be aware of like other people that are capable of leadership positions that want to be leaders as well. Our recruitment goal is recruit, recruit, recruit. Every single time you're on the game. I can't stress that enough. That should be our main focal point. If we can get in, you know, let's say 30 people a month, right? That's one player a day. And we can take out of those 30, we can get 5 or 3 people to become part of FP. We're achieving our goals. Okay. I'd like to see like all 30, you know, but that's not a realistic expectation. What we're going to find is we're going to find out that people are with Org already. We're going to find out people are just new at this game. We're going to find out that people don't play this game very often. All these different situations are going to come up. But we're going to find onesies and twosies that play the game on a regular basis or live and breathe this shit or play it like, you know, on the weekends, you know, weekend warriors and whatnot. And it is what it is. You know, we need people from every time zone, doesn't matter, all walks of life, regular casual players to hardcore players. All right. Now I'm going to open up the floor for Q&A. So if you're in the Discord, which Stroff, thank you for being here. I appreciate you being in attendance today, sir. Or if you're on YouTube or Twitch, feel free to ask any questions. You know, any tactical questions or questions, game questions, or any suggestions that you have, feel free. I mean, we want to build as much, you know, transparency as possible. And, you know, we want to answer your guys' questions. We want to hear you guys. Off, if you have any questions or you want to say anything, that would be the time. Just raise your little hand up there in the briefing room and I'll snag you up. Or if anybody is in Twitch or YouTube, you know, give us a shout in there. I'll give it a minute or two for any responses or anything that I can answer for you guys. And then Stroth, there's should be a raise your hand type thing down in your bottom right hand corner. And if you don't want to come up, that's cool too, but I want to make sure that you know where that is. Matter of fact, let me show you guys this. So inside the briefing room right here, right, you got Stroff down here, right? And if you're the speaker, you're up here. If somebody raises their hand, you can pull them up, or like I can leave the stage and come back down here. I can share my screen in here with you guys. These are all the options that I got. Then up here, show request, it show me who's requested to speak, if anybody. And if I see that, I click on their name and it draws them over there. For you guys that are leaders, that's how it works. All right. Well, I know this is the first go and it was random when I came on to start this up. So I just want to thank everybody, for coming in. I am going to try to do this, like I said, on a weekly basis. And as we grow, I'll probably push it out to once a month. But for now, this is kind of like a trial run. I want to get, better at speaking to you guys and telling you guys better information. All right, but forward progress, we're gonna move, in the right direction and continue to grow. And I just want to thank everybody for your time and discipline and commitment to the org. Get out there, keep making progress, keep moving forward. Have a great day, everybody. Oh, also Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. On your Pacific, just so you guys are aware of a little bit of the time zone. All right, take care, everybody.